understands it. People in power don't have to brag about the power they have. It's unspoken. The Saints and the Patriots have been really great franchises for most of the last decade, certainly New England. They both have Hall of Fame coaches, Belichick and Sean Payton. But Belichick's won more Super Bowls, so he has more power. And as he has accumulated more power, he has pushed away people in the personnel department. Bill now controls the draft. And the Patriot drafts have been poor for the last 4 or 5 or 6 years. The more Super Bowls he wins, the more power Belichick has. Sean Payton is also a Hall of Fame coach. And maybe if he had 4 Super Bowls, he would get to call the shots. But he has Mickey Loomis, one of the best GMs in football. And if Tom Brady had Mickey Loomis as his general manager in New England and would have had Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas drafted, Tom Brady would have never left New England. And Jared Cook and Emmanuel Sanders in free agency acquired. He would be in New England. Tom was never tight with Belichick. 20 years, they never went to dinner. That's fact. That wasn't why he left. He left because Belichick got more power, wouldn't let Tom have a say, and as he got more power, didn't let his scouts help him in the draft. Tom Brady would be in New England. He and Belichick were never tight. So when people called Brady a shot fighter, my argument was, why are we not looking at Belichick? He made the classic mistake. I've seen Bobby Knight make this mistake. I've seen old coaches who get rich and powerful. Greg Popovich with Kawhi Leonard. When you get powerful in this sport, often you want to flex and push away dissenting opinions. Belichick, it's a hole in his game. He is becoming a little bit like that classic old dominating college football coach who doesn't age well. They're bad offensively. They have no weapons. Brady just chose a place where a younger GM and a veteran head coach work hand in hand. So when you watch this weekend, and this is why Brady is better right now than Breeze. Breeze is struggling with great weapons. Brady now is very good with great weapons. But we've spent so much time looking at Brady and Drew Brees, we haven't looked at these 2 Hall of Fame coaches. One has been left to his own worst devices and tendencies, power. The other, Sean Payton, is held in check by a great general manager. Tom Brady would never have left if Mickey Loomis was in New England and said to Bill occasionally, I got it. This is what I do. You're a great coach. I'm a great GM. Belichick's trying to be a great coach and a great GM. There's never been an example where it works. There's been great GMs that couldn't coach and great coaches that didn't GM, but we've given Belichick this pass and he's just a magician. He's terrible. Offensive skill people, he hasn't had a Pro Bowler since Gronk. So when you look this weekend, finally Brady has weapons. And of course Breeze does. He's had them for years. They've even built their offensive line over in New Orleans, and that's got 2 Pro Bowlers on it. Joy Taylor with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, it feels like the NBA season just finished. It did, and it's about to get started again very soon.
8 weeks later.
The NBA players' reps voted in support of the league's plan for the next season. The Players Association released a statement yesterday saying that they have approved the December 22nd start date with a 72-game schedule. You know, in times of crisis, sometimes there's opportunity.
Yeah.
And I personally love this.
So do I. I actually would like it more. I just think we're in a world where it's unfair to the 4 final teams and really an advantage to be a non-bubble team, but that's life.
Life's not fair. There are still details that need to be negotiated, but the NBA is on track to begin again in just a few weeks. The NBA draft is scheduled for November 18th, so that's in just a few weeks as well. Obviously not the same buzz that we usually have for the NBA draft, but it is going to change a few things. There's a couple big names in there. Anthony Edwards, obviously LaMelo Ball. So the NBA Finals finished October 11th with a December 22nd start date. To your point, the Lakers and Heat will only have 72 days off for 10 weeks. The Nuggets and Celtics finished on September 26th and 27th, respectively, so they'll have 12 weeks off. Then the 6 teams that left the bubble before the playoffs would have 18 weeks. And then obviously there were also 8 teams who never went to the bubble, and they wouldn't have played a game in 9 months, which includes the Golden State Warriors, who will be coming back healthy. So they haven't been able to hold mini camps. But to your point, the teams that lasted the longest in the bubble are at a slight disadvantage.
Yes.
They haven't had a lot of time off. They've also, I'm sure, had to mentally reset from being away from their families and their lives for the time that they were in the bubble for those 3 months. But we have to make adjustments, and there's a majority that the NBA has to be concerned about as well here, not just the Lakers, Heat, Nuggets, and Celtics.
The good news for the Lakers, Vogel's a veteran coach. Most of the players are veterans, so they do. You can have a much lighter practice schedule because these guys understand. I mean, you don't have to tell Rondo and LeBron and AD how to play.
Right.
So it's not a young team trying to build chemistry. What we were shocked about last year with the Lakers, how good the chemistry was in the first week. So the good news is you got a title, you got chemistry. I would go through a really, really light first month of camp. I'd play LeBron 20 minutes, not 30, and you're going to lose some games, but the good news is most of it now. Miami's different, where they're young and they probably need to get in camp. But I think the NBA should have started by Christmas, and I've always been a 68 to a 72 game guy, so I love it.
I love the adjustments, and I don't think anyone needs to be overreactive to if you don't see a lot of LeBron or AD at the beginning of the season. If Jimmy Butler's not out there a lot at the beginning of the season, that's fine. I do think that we're going to start to get away from the load management with the rest of the league, because that obviously did not work out well for the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, but for the teams that were there the longest, you have to just be a little patient. So the Titans looked like one of the best teams in the league a few weeks ago, starting the season 5-0. But they've dropped their last 2 to the Steelers and a stinker to the Bengals. And Ryan Tannehill is anxious to turn those things around.
Everyone's frustrated. Just not going out and performing the way we expect to is frustrating, plain and simple. But at the end of the day, we have no one to look to but ourselves. We have a lot to clean up, and excited for the opportunity this week to get back to work, clean those things up, and go play against a really good team on Sunday.
I thought about putting this in the Blazing Five. There's a theory in the NFL that after you play the Steelers, they are so physical that the next week you're banged up and flat. You come down from playing the Steelers, and they looked awful against Cincinnati, and they'll rebound this week. But if you watched that game last week, it was not competitive 10 minutes in. So Tennessee was just – and I think that's what it is. It's the post – they've said this about the Patriots, by the way. Remember when the Patriots were in the dynasty? The week after you played New England, you had been – teams had a blueprint on how to beat you, because New England and Belichick would say, here's how to beat this team. The next coaching staff would go, Belichick gave us the blueprint to beat the Jets or the Dolphins. So there's a little bit of that rebound theory.
They lost the Steelers close, 27-24. But to your point, 31-20 to the Bengals last week is not what you expect to see from the Titans. I don't know, though. The Bears are one of those teams that is similar to the Rams. You just really don't know what they are week to week. The Titans are favored by 6.5, according to Fox Bet. They are at home.
Yeah.
But this is a very, very big game for Tennessee. You don't want to lose 3 in a row.
Yeah, that's the right number. I think Titans will win, and they'll win by a couple field goals. I think the number is right.
So Richard Sherman has gone up against Tom Brady a few times in his career, and he spoke with Chris Collinsworth about one important thing that separates Brady from other quarterbacks.
He's much more intense throughout the play than most quarterbacks. It's almost like a franticness about his play sometimes, where it's like, I need to get this ball out. I know where it's going. It's almost like the game's moving so slow in his mind that it's like his mind's fast forwarded to the spot where the guy should be, the moment the ball should be out, and the guy isn't there yet, and he has to wait for him.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. When you do something for that long, that many times, it becomes a second nature to you.
Yes.
It's more of the physical now than it is with Brady mentally. And he's right. Like, he knows where the receiver is supposed to be. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. Yeah. So he's so far ahead of everyone that he's like holding it like, okay, get
well,
get to where you need
if you've ever been in a kitchen with a chef, a long tenured chef, and there's utter chaos in a kitchen. I mean, it's like intimidating. And you watch a great chef. He can plate everything at the exact same time. I can't do eggs, toast, and at the same time. They don't match up.
Right.
But if you watch a great chef, he's literally, he can anticipate everything, the timing. And I think that's Brady. he is a play. Wayne Gretzky, they said at the end, he was a play ahead.
Yes.
He was a pass ahead of the sport, and I think that's where Brady is.
Yeah, it's similar to LeBron. Like, LeBron knows the game so well that that's why he gets so frustrated with young players, and Brady does too, because they know it so well. They're like, why don't you understand what I'm saying to you? Like, this is so simple, but when you've been doing it 20 years, it's it starts to slow down for you a little bit.
Good stuff. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.